Hey everybody, welcome back to the Well-Rounded Dude podcast. This one, episode big number 2. I promise it's not going to be shit. It's going to be a pretty good episode. It's been a while since our last episode due to some unforeseen circumstances. We're going to get into that in another podcast. But today, what we're going to cover is Batman Day 2022. Now, if you're a longtime follower of the Well-Rounded Dude, you'll know that I am a huge unapologetic Batman fan, and every year for Batman Day, I do put out a video. But this year, due to some different work that came up, which is a good thing, I wasn't able to produce a video. So I figured, why not do a podcast in honor of Batman Day 2022? And I released a video on the channel not too long ago where I did a fan cast of The Dark Knight Returns. So I figured I would let you guys listen to it. I think it's pretty cool. There's a lot of twists and turns, and let me know what you think. If you guys want to hear more fan casts, let me know. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay guys, first and foremost, we should get this out of the way. There is no live action Dark Knight Returns movie coming. This is just what I thought would be a little bit of fun. These are my picks. This is my opinion. And from here on out, there are going to be some spoilers, mild, maybe major, I don't know, for the Dark Knight Returns story. So if you haven't read it or seen the 2 animated movies that DC put out, which will both be linked down in the description, you might not want to watch this. But without further ado, let's get into it because I think this will be a lot of fun. So if you have not seen or read Batman The Dark Knight Returns, I'll give you a little synopsis of what the story is. It takes place a little bit in the future. Bruce Wayne has retired from being Batman. He's in his mid-50s and he's become a bit of a drunk. The city is gone to hell and he decides to come out of retirement and be Batman again in a time when he probably shouldn't, when politics are not in his favor and his age has gotten to him and he's out of shape, but he's going to get back out there and clean up the streets. So now that you know a little bit about the story, we're going to pick some of the characters. I'm not going to pick every character and cast every one because that would make this video super long. So what I've done is I've gone to Wikipedia and I'm looking at the clickable characters that are in the story, and I'm going to cast those. Now there's going to be a couple that I won't do, or ones I should say that are not clickable that I am going to cast because I think it's fun and I have a really cool idea. So we're going to get into it. The first one, so mind me while I scroll through, I think we're going to go with Robin. Now, it's not the typical Dick Grayson or Tim Drake or Jason Todd or Damian Wayne or whatever one that you may be familiar with. This Robin is actually Carrie Kelly. She's a female. She is, in the story, she's 13 years old. With adaptations, they always change a couple of things, and I think this is one of the things that they could change. For her, I would cast Bella Thorne. Now, if you're not familiar with Bella Thorne, she was in the Disney series called Step It Up, I think is what it was called, with Zendaya. But since then, she has gone through puberty and is much older now. She's not 13, but she's in her 20s, so she could pull off maybe a 16-year-old, and the story could adapt to that. But I think it would be fun to have her play Robin. I think it would lend credence to the movie, just spice things up a little bit, and I think she would bring a good role and maybe update the role of Carrie Kelly just a little bit. But again, just my pick. But I think spicing up the Robin thing up a little bit would be kind of interesting. Next up, let's cast James Gordon, Commissioner James Gordon. Now, in this story, James is a little bit older. He's getting ready to retire. It's his 70th birthday. In this story, he does know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. As a matter of fact, he's become a drinking buddy of Bruce's. And he is not particularly thrilled that Bruce is coming out of retirement to be Batman again. And I think the perfect person to play Gordon at this age would be Sam Elliott. I'm going to throw a picture up on the screen. Sam Elliott. He looks like Commissioner Gordon. His voice, his gravitas, I think he would be perfect for it. I think he would be down to play it. You know, whether he would, who knows, but I think he would bring a great, you know, that voice of his, that deep voice would be great for Commissioner Gordon. So the next character we're going to cast, again, this one is not going to be a clickable link on the Wikipedia page, but I just saw this dude in an interview the other day, and I just thought, wow, it'd be a great turn of events to have Woody Allen play Dr. Bartholomew Wolper. In the book, Wolper is kind of like a new-aged therapist that lets Two-Face and Joker out of the asylum. And while he just played kind of like your hippie doctor, or was portrayed that way in the book, I think kind of having him, you know, kind of mild-mannered and subdued, kind of like how Woody Allen is, just kind of would be an interesting turn of events. Again, just my opinions, but I think it would be, since it's an adaptation, it'd be kind of fun. And having Dr. Wolper that way would be interesting. So for Harvey Dent and Two-Face, I would love to see it, and I don't think it'll ever happen, but I would love to see Bruce Willis play Harvey Dent. Now, in the story, and there's some spoilers coming, but Harvey Dent has been treated by Dr. Wolper. He's been released from Arkham, supposedly fully healed. He was supposed to go to a halfway house. He escapes and starts doing Two-Face crimes again. They fear that he's scarred his face, but come to find out, he has not. He just sees himself as fully scarred. So he sees both sides of his face scarred when they're not. I think it would be interesting to adapt it to where he kind of Harvey talks to Two-Face, and that could play into, you know, Bruce Willis using an earpiece, because the rumor was that he had an earpiece to feed him his lines. I don't know if that's confirmed yet, but if it was, you know, I think that would be interesting, an interesting development on the whole Harvey Dent Two-Face aspect of the story. I think it'd be very cool, but again, it's probably not going to happen if it, you know, but it'd be cool. The next character we're going to cast is one that's a fairly popular DC character, but doesn't have a lot of time in the story, Lana Lang. And I would cast Bridget Monahan to play Lana Lang. Now, there's a couple reasons why. Mainly because of the character we're going to cast later on, you'll see in this video. But I like Bridget Monahan. She's on Blue Bloods, if you don't know who she is. She's perfect for this version of Lana Lang, who is kind of an activist and going on talk shows, and there's a bit of a political spin or political story that goes on with this, and I think for the little bit of time it would be cool to have Bridget Monahan. Plus, even though this is one of my favorite comic book stories, Frank Miller is the one who wrote this story, if you're not aware. I was never a fan of how he depicted older women. All of the older women and the legacy characters that are in here are kind of obese. Like, he just sees them as, like, as soon as they hit 40s or 50s, because I think most of the characters are like early 50s, mid 50s, they just became obese and extremely out of shape. And I was never a fan of that. And this would be a great way to change up that depiction. We're going to cast the Mutant Leader. The Mutant Leader is like the main baddie in the second part of the story. Again, this is a 4-part story. The Mutant Leader is the second part baddie. I would cast Vin Diesel. Now, I know you guys may be surprised. If you know me personally, you know I do not care for Vin Diesel at all, but I think he would make a good mutant leader. There's very few lines. You know, it's just mean looks and muscles. That's all he pretty much is. And in the story, he's one of the first fights after Two-Face that Batman has and loses, and then comes back and beats him to a bloody pulp. So I think it would be perfect. Cast somebody who is a lot younger, but in shape, and can pull off that mean stare. Next, we got another popular DC character who has a very Limited appearance in this story, Oliver Queen. In the book, Oliver Queen is handicapped. He lost his left arm in a fight with Superman, and he deals one of the devastating blows in the book's finale to Superman that allows Batman to quote-unquote win. Read the story if you want to find out. But I thought about this for a long time, of like who could play Oliver Queen? Who would be a good elderly Oliver Queen? And I couldn't get Stephen Amell's performance in that episode of Legends of Tomorrow out of my head. With the makeup, I think they should use him. I think they could even do a better job than what they did on Legends of Tomorrow. Make Stephen Amell look a little bit older and have him go after, or however they want to adapt the story, but have him as elderly Oliver Queen. It'd be great publicity for the movie. Again, this movie is never going to happen, but if it did, he would be amazing. Hey guys, we're going to get back into this list in just a second, but I figured I would take this time to tell you a little bit about Pete and Pedro's brand new fragrance, Legend. Legend is an EDP inspired by Tom Ford's Fucking Fabulous. If you know fragrances, you know Tom Ford's, it can be pretty expensive. I mean, a 1.7 ounce bottle is in the $300 to $400 range. A 3.4 ounce bottle can be like $600, but Pete and Pedro, they've knocked it out of the park with this one. It is not $300, it's under $50, and you can save 10% with our discount code WellRounded10, and you can be smelling like a champ. I mean, what would you rather smell like? Fucking Fabulous or a Legend? I'll take a Legend any day. So guys, please be sure to check out the description for the link to Pete and Pedro Legend. Alright, let's get back into today's content. Another legacy DC character, Selina Kyle. She doesn't get a lot of book time or screen time, but we could have a great legacy actress come back to play her. Again, I'm not a fan of how Frank Miller sees women when they hit, you know, their early 50s, which is what Selina Kyle is supposed to be. Again, most of these characters are supposed to be in their 50s. In the book, she is very obese, and she's running an escort business. That's one of the things I hope if they ever did this movie, they should change, is let her be doing something else. But if you're going to have a legacy character like Selina Kyle, then have a great legacy actress like Michelle Pfeiffer come in and play Selina Kyle once again. Just like having Stephen Amell come back and playing Oliver Queen, it'd be great publicity to have Michelle Pfeiffer come back into the role of Selina Kyle. You know, I know there was a lot of flack back in the day for her when she played Catwoman in Batman Returns because of her blonde hair. Traditionally, Selina is supposed to be a brunette, but who cares? It's hair color, right? They can change it. Either leave it the way it is or, you know, dye it brunette. But, she does, again, the character doesn't have a lot of time in the movie story, so it'd be more or less a cameo, but it'd be a great cameo, and I, as a DC fan, would love to see that. We're getting down to the last three characters, guys, and these are big ones, so let's just hop into it. Superman. Now, before I tell you who I'd pick, in the story, Superman is a bit of a government patsy, an agent of the government. He's kind of not how we've seen him before in other versions. He's just like straight up agent of the US government and is just kind of a lackey for them, which is not great for Superman's character, but I know a lot of people were upset at that when The Dark Knight Returns originally came out in 1986, but it is what it is. He is the last villain of the story, essentially. I mean, he's still Superman, but he's opposing Batman, so he's the villain of the last villain of this story. I would 100% be behind Henry Cavill continuing as Superman, playing this version of Superman in The Dark Knight Returns. I know, kind of polarizing opinions in that. I enjoy him in Man of Steel. I enjoy him in Batman v Superman, in Justice League, and to be clear, Batman v Superman drew a lot of influences from this story, so that's one of the reasons why that they won't make this, because again, Batman versus Superman is polarizing in and of itself. But there were some people that were upset about the fight, how long it lasted, and this is a great way for redemption of having Cavill play Superman in an adaptation of Dark Knight Returns. And I like his Superman. I think he'd be perfect for it. We could get to see him flex a little bit more than what he was able to in Zack Snyder's versions of Justice League and BVS and Man of Steel. But I think he would be amazing at it because he was already amazing in my opinion. So there you have it. Next up, we have one of the most important characters in this story, the Joker. Now, I have to admit, I didn't think of this all by myself. The Joker is very pivotal to this story. But I got the idea from a meme on Facebook, and there's been a lot of fans wondering why Willem Dafoe hasn't been cast as the Joker yet. This would be the perfect movie for him to play Joker in. He's a little bit older, but you know, he'd still be able to pull it off. I mean, he was a little bit older for Green Goblin, and he still pulled that off. So he could pull off the Joker, and everybody would be happy. Plus, Willem Dafoe seems to want to play the Joker, so I don't think he would turn it down given the opportunity. But he'd be a great Joker, and especially with that fight, that final fight between Batman and Joker that happens in this story. You know, final, but I think he would be vicious, and he could pull it off. He'd be amazing. Okay, the one you've really wanted, the one you've been waiting for. Who plays Batman? I told you before, it might surprise you. I would pick Tom Selleck. Now, if you're a millennial, you may not know who Tom Selleck is. Magnum P.I., which shame on you if you don't know who Tom Selleck is, but he's got the build for it. He looks like he's straight out of the Dark Knight Returns comic, except for the hair. The hair is in Dark Knight Returns is gray. Tom Selleck still has his hair color. He has the mustache that Bruce Wayne has in the beginning of the story, and we could get him shaving it off because he is open. Tom Selleck is open to shaving off his famous mustache. He could shave it off on camera. Now, you guys may not think that's amazing, but if you remember Tom Selleck, it's pretty amazing. He's willing to take a role where he has to shave his mustache. He's not opposed to it. So, plus he would have great. I think he would have great rapport with Bella Thorne as Robin, because he's kind of like that older figure. The dude is built for it. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen like Blue Bloods like lately, but he's always wearing three-piece suits like Bruce Wayne does. And when he walks, you can literally hear the thuds of him walking across stage, like boom, boom, boom. He's got like the build of an elderly Batman. Again, I don't know if he would want to do it, but I just think it would be cool. He fits perfectly in that age range with everybody else that I've mentioned on this list. With Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott I think Sam Elliott is older than Tom Selleck. But they could have a great dynamic. Tom Selleck is a good actor, you know, and, you know, going up against Bruce Willis as Two-Face, perfect. Going up against Willem Dafoe as a little bit more spry Joker, even though Joker is supposed to be in his 60s, perfect. You know, going up against Henry Cavill as Superman in the film's climax, oh, cinematic gold, in my opinion. Again, you guys may disagree, but I think Tom Selleck would be perfect for this role. I've said it for years, and you know, everybody was always like, oh, Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood would make like a good 80-year-old Bruce Wayne for Batman Beyond. You know, he looks like he kicked ass in his day, you know, but that day has passed. You know, that's Clint Eastwood. Tom Selleck looks like he could still kick some ass, right? You know, so, and that's what we want to see in this movie. So, I can't think of anybody else that would be a more suited mid-50s, coming out of retirement Batman. And the mustache. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed our fan casting of The Dark Knight Returns. I truly think Tom Selleck would make an awesome Batman, but you guys gotta let me know in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? On any of the characters on the list, please feel free to let me know. And feel free to subscribe. We would much appreciate a subscribe or follow or comment on whatever platform you're on. We're on a bunch of different ones. And please subscribe to the Well-Rounded Dude YouTube channel. Check out our website, thewellroundeddude.com. Dude 15 will save you 15% off your total purchase. And we will see you soon, guys. Hopefully not as long as it's been between episodes recently, but we'll see you again soon. So take care. Peace.